Hey, what's up, y'all? Sorry for the re-upload. So for those of you that have seen this video already, it's pretty much the same thing, except I had to correct some major math errors. Just so you guys know, I came out good. I had a 10,000 square foot bag, right, and a 10,000 square foot lawn, except I left out 500 square feet in the back and a couple parkways, so like 700 square feet that I didn't use of the bag, and the bag did the whole lawn except for those small areas. So I was slightly heavy-handed, but I was good. What happens is I know how things work in my spreader and just what it looks like. I go so much by feel and eye. And then I try to translate the math for you guys, breaking it down in one small area. It just didn't work out. But either way, it's 12.5 pounds of product for that 2,500 square foot area. Now to the video with the edits. Look at that.
That's what we call a pinfish. I call them, that's like a saltwater bluegill.
Great job, Steve.
That's huge.
That's a world record.
No, you don't want it. If we get him, how are you going to get him? You going to net him? Or? Wind to the float, the same old drill. Now just swing the rod tip to me. There it is. Wow. Here, hold the line there. That's a good 2.5 pound pompano. Wow. Most expensive fish in the market.
Really? Yeah. What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hayne, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. Okay, so today is the day. It's actually the first application of our lawn program, at least for us southern guys and gals here. We are starting with our Prodiamine Pre-Emergent app. Now, if you haven't gotten my free Pre-Emergent guide, I'll put a link in the description below. You can sign up for my newsletter, and then we'll send it to you for free. We're going to keep sending that out, and it's a step-by-step Pre-Emergent guide for the entire season for cool season or warm season grass. Now, I'm going to be doing the warm season here along with you guys all during the year. However, I will be referencing the cool season, spread rates and things like that. So you're gonna be fine, don't worry about it. We're gonna all get through this together. Either way, I'm actually a little bit late here. I mean, it's 85 degrees out today, so soil temps are gonna be well over that. I probably should have put this down 10 days ago or so, but hey, it is what it is. I got some broadleaf coming in. I don't know if you can see them over my shoulder, right along the edges there. Just had the sidewalks and everything here clean and sealed, so that opened everything up, and then what that did is encourage those broadleaf weeds to grow around the edges there. And I didn't do a pre-emergent last fall, so I'm gonna have some things to struggle with this year, but that's good. That's why we have this channel, isn't it? Okay, but before we go getting too crazy, let's go ahead and just check our math. Let's check our area. Let's kind of plan our attack here. So that way we make sure we do things in the most logical manner, we keep things clean, and we don't put out any waste. All right, so there's the product, Pennington Pro Care Granular, and I've got the guide pulled up right here, and I've got the warm season guide pulled up. We'll talk to you guys down south here in a second, but I got the warm season guide pulled up. So the first thing is, you'll remember I told all of you to make a property map. So get your property map out. If you haven't done this, I'll link in the description below to the video I did that shows you how to measure out your lawn, because this is really the starting point for everything we're gonna do. Okay, so you can see I've got my lawn sectioned off here into 5 distinct sections, and then I've measured each one. So now I kind of know my plan of attack. I got 1,000 square foot area, a 2,000, a 25, a 25, and a 21, total 10.2. So we'll round it for making math easy to 10,000 square feet. Also, one viewer was kind enough to point out I had a typo here. I had that this was a 40 pound, cursor's over it, that this is a 40 pound bag, and actually it's not, it's a 50. So our application rate here is 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet, right? So 5 pounds of product across every 1,000 square feet. I've got 10 of those, 10 1,000s, so I need 50 pounds, and it just so happens the bag is 50 pounds. Thanks, viewer, for pointing that out. I think I kind of knew that in my head when I did it. I just didn't type it right, but there you go. So one bag will cover my entire lawn, and that's a rate of 5 pounds per 1,000, and that's gonna give me the right active ingredient to prevent crabgrass. If you go too light on this, you won't prevent the crabgrass. You gotta be at that rate or higher. So for purposes of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and just do section 3 right here, which is a 2,500 square foot area. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you on video how I'm gonna do section 3, 2,500 square feet. So at 2,500 square feet, that's 2.5 times 5 pounds, which is 12.5 pounds to cover this section of the lawn. The next thing is, people say, well, how do you know what 5 pounds is? Well, I just guess, to be honest with you. And in fact, I don't just put 5 pounds in and only do this section. I put, I think that's a 30 pound hopper. I fill it all the way up, 25 pounds, and I just go. Because I have muscle memory now. I kind of know where my spreader is set. I know my walking speed. I'm good. I know how to cover 10,000 square feet at 5 pounds per 1,000 with a product like this. But keep in mind, most of you guys are used to doing Milorganite, which is 15 pounds per 1,000. Really different. So you're gonna have to crank way back on your setting. If you're not familiar with how that works or how to set your spreader, I'll link in the description below to a video I did that shows you about that. I will tell you though that this is not the product to learn on. This is not the test product for you. You should test on something like Milorganite, learn your chops that way, or even sand. This is a chemical here. This is an actual herbicide. You don't want to over apply, and you definitely don't want to under apply. So if you haven't tried this before, this is not your test bed here. But definitely look at the videos in the description below. It's not as hard as I'm making it seem. It's really not that hard. So to answer the question, if you don't know how to measure, you don't want to guesstimate 5 pounds or whatever, all those things, all you have to really do is I'll link in the description below. You can get these luggage things. They're like luggage, weight luggage, I don't know. It's for picking up bags. I'll link to that, and you can put the fur in a bag that way, a separate bag like a Ziploc or whatever you got, and you can weigh it out that way. But really my advice to you is to just learn it so you don't have to do that, but only the first couple times, and then that way you can just go out and just throw her down, baby. One other thing, we do have personal protective equipment here. We're going to use some gloves, long sleeves, long pants, shoes, plus socks. And I always wear eye protection as well, but I think that's more for my ego and not really a part of PPE. By the way, you should always read this. Even though I gave you a nice guide and a book, you should still read this for yourself. There's a lot of good information in here, and you can always learn something. Isn't that cool looking? Look at that. Pretty stuff. One other thing, there are some fumes that build up in here. Do not stick your face in there and breathe. I know that you might be tempted to do that. Trust me, you do not want to do that. Holy cow, I'm out of shape, wow. Okay, bonus pro tip. I hope that the audio is going to be okay here, but I realize that some of you may have purchased this or already had this. I'll link in the description below. This is the water soluble granulars here, so these are actually meant to be sprayed for us, in our cases, out of a hand can. So I'll go ahead and give you the mix rates here. It's 0.75 ounce per gallon. 1 gallon covers 1,000 square feet, so 3/4 of an ounce per gallon. So I'm going to mix up 2 gallons here, so I'm going to put in 1.5 ounces. So you can see my mix thing here has a 1 ounce right there, so, and then there's a 1/2 ounce. So either way, I'm going to put in 1.5 ounces here into 2 gallons. By the way, the reason I'm doing this is, number one, I got just a little bit heavy-handed with my granular app because I'm out of practice, but I'll be all right. Number two is that I like to actually hit the parkways with liquid. It's just not as messy because the parkways are thin and narrow. Number three is I like to use this in the rear yard where I have a pool, because I can't control where the granules get thrown all the time, and I don't want them thrown into the pool, especially when it's something I don't really know what it is. I don't know if it's going to stain my pool or my decks or anything like that, but I'm really more worried about the pool and throwing the pH off or whatever, so easier to control with liquid. Then the other thing I'm going to do, and you're going to see a lot of this, is I'm going to put in some RGS. And what we're going to use this for, and I'm going to do a full video on this line. You know, we got 3 packages in the store. I'll link in the description below. I know that you guys are chomping at the bit to get this, but I'll do a full video next week in telling you all about these products. But for right now, the RGS, this is kind of what I'm calling the base layer, or the underlying medicine for the whole program. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to mix this in with the herbicide. Reason being, and what my thought process is, that RGS is for two things. Number one is it's to enhance the good things you put in, like Milorganite. This will enhance it. And then when you put in bad things like chemicals, now chemicals are a needed thing, but they're definitely not natural. They're not good. Nobody's going to say that putting chemicals in your soil is good, but we need them. So what I'm going to use it for there is like a little bit of a healing medicine. I got to hurt the soil just a little bit with this because I need to keep the weeds out so my crop stand, which is turf, can grow. So I'm going to put in a little RGS as a little medicine to kind of go along with it, kind of ease the pain. I don't know if I'm describing that right, but that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put this in at 3 ounces per gallon, so 6 ounces of this is also going in for our blanket Prodiamine application. Before I set up this shot, some people are going to ask me if they should mow the lawn before they apply this, and I always say, if the lawn needs to be mowed, mow it. If the lawn doesn't need to be mowed, don't mow it. I mean, you're mulching anyway, right? So just think about what's going to make a mess for you. Don't make a mess. So mow if you like, just don't make a mess. It's my party and I'll mow if I want to. Another thing wow, look at that. Torpedo grass coming in hot, torpedo grass. Another thing I like to do is use the liquid right along these curbings and edges. Yeah, that efflorescence. Ugh. Anyway, just to, give myself a little bit, look at that. I mean, that's pretty powerful, don't you think? And I don't really care if it hurts the grass in there. I don't want anything growing in there anyway. It's not as clean as it could be right now, but we're coming out of winter. Give me a break. Give you an idea what that looks like. See how you can see that the leaves are wet? That's what you want. That's how you know your app's good, is that you can see that the leaves are mostly wet. Again, this is not a foliar application. I mean, the RGS is and can be, but we're really just looking at this to make sure you're getting enough down. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go back and get more RGS at 3 ounces per gallon, and I'm going to go ahead and treat the entire lawn. You didn't think I was just going to do the parkways, did you? No, we're going to do the whole lawn now with liquid RGS. Again, wow, I don't know if you can see those broadleaf in there. That's ugly. But anyway, this is more of a offset, a negative input. The RGS is a positive input to offset that. That's what we're using it for right now.
The last thing here is, of course, you want to water your application in. We need 1/2 inch of water to get this down into the soil to activate it properly, and you need to do that almost right away. Sun will degrade this product very, very quickly. Now the RGS does have some foliar application availability to it. We're going to negate that by watering this in, but that's okay. We want everything to get into the soil. I do happen to have this beautiful Rachio here. They sent me this a couple years ago, so I actually have the old version, but it installed great. And the thing I love the best about it is what you see here is I can put on my zones, I can test them because this is my first time out this year, so I actually really need to adjust these zones, and I can do all of that without having to run back in the garage a whole bunch of times. So Rachio, thank you very much. Lastly, you guys may want to consider this time of year for a soil test. So you guys know I work with Soil Savvy. They've been a great partner of the channel for a couple years now as well. I'll link in the description below where you can pick up your Soil Savvy. The reason I like them is because their test shows what nutrients are readily available or currently available in your soil, whereas a lot of tests don't. They just show the total amount in the soil. This is actual stuff, macros, micros that are available to you right now. With that, I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the lawn.